Watch and burn.
Hey everybody. So tonight I want to discuss Tannen's 1988 Chuck Norris vehicle, Hero and the Terror. Now, this movie was originally, this came out back when I was a kid, of course. I think it came out in 88. I didn't see it in 88. I saw it around grade 7, grade 8, so it would have been 92, 93. And I remember that when this movie was first released, I remember seeing the odd poster for it here and there back when I was a little kid in 88, 89. But it seemed like this movie hung around for a while because I remember it was still sort of relevant from a horror aspect around the time that I saw it, a few years after it had been released. Because I remember, like, all my friends were like, oh, this is like Chuck Norris's horror movie where he's taking out this psychopath that's wiping people out, and that's not really Norris's thing. So I remember it being sort of billed as kind of a mid-horror movie of some kind. And of course, this is not a horror movie at all. This one's interesting. This is a more sensitive Chuck Norris. This isn't just the stoic sort of, knows everything, badass guy that Norris usually plays. It's showing more of a focus on his relationship with his wife, who's pregnant, and how the whole time he's having to deal with, Jack O'Halloran. He plays the Terror. Jack O'Halloran, for anybody who doesn't recognize the name, but has seen the movie Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks, he played Emil Muzz. Emil Muzz. He was in that. So Jack O'Halloran, he plays the Terror. And Norris is grappling with having caught him once before, and he's got all the credit for it, even though Norris knows he wasn't responsible for the capture. The Terror had knocked himself out when attempting to climb up a ladder, I believe, and that's how he was apprehended. So Norris sort of has these nightmares about having to battle the Terror again, and this is sort of freaking him out. Now, the other thing that I liked about this initially, at least, was that Steve James of the American Ninja franchise is in this. And this is, sadly, just a few years before he would die. And so initially, at the prospect that Steve James is going to be in it, which is awesome because, again, it throws back to another series of films that Tannen had released that I absolutely loved. But then he does this voice. He kind of talks like this through the whole thing, and it's annoying, and it completely removes me from being able to enjoy the fact that Steve James is in this. The other thing that I thought was really rad about this was that Billy Drago's in this. And he's another sort of Chuck Norris regular, Tannen regular, but he usually plays a bad guy. And in this, he plays the Terror's doctor, who was dealing with him while he was institutionalized before he escapes and, kicks off the start of the movie. What else did I want to say? I suppose, I think that my biggest issue with this would be that it does play it too seriously. This is, after all, a Tannen vehicle, a Chuck Norris Tannen vehicle, so there's supposed to be that sense of sort of campy fun. And like I said, this does play it a little too straight. The killings, they're not really all that graphic, and there's certainly nothing in the ways of sex assaults, which of course Tannen isn't exactly a stranger to, given what they did to, Jesus Christ, Charles Bronson's housekeeper in the second Death Wish alone. I mean, Tannen does not shy away from rape. But fortunately enough, there's no sex assaults or anything in this movie, nothing like that. Oh, losing lights here. So that's fun, but this movie is trying too hard to be too many things that it's just not built for. This is, after all, sort of a cookie-cutter Chuck Norris Tannen film again. Even though Norris is branching out and showing a more serious side to his acting ability, it doesn't matter. This movie is not as much fun as it could be. And it's good, but it's not really all that memorable. And that's where I'm leaving it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for almost 6 minutes while I discussed the 1988 film Hero and the Terror. Like always, if you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But most importantly, please don't forget that the world is actually a better place because you're in it. Like always, I'm getting out of here. Have a good night.